2 seasons ago, Noah Dobson looked like the NHL's next breakout blue line superstar. 70 dazzling points and a swagger that had Islanders fans talking Norris. Fast forward to last year and the tune changed fast. A steep drop to just 39 points, mounting turnovers, and frustrated whispers of he's not meeting expectations. So why would the Canadiens gamble big on a defender whose stock seemed to crater overnight? Tonight we'll dig into the friction that pushed New York to sell low, the upside and risks Montreal just bought, and how 2 first-round picks could turn this deal on its head. Stick around, because by the end, you'll know whether that drop-off was a one-season blip or the harsh truth hiding in plain sight. And before we go any further, tap subscribe so you never miss the next trade shocker. With newly appointed GM Mathieu Darche staring down a payroll jammed to the ceiling, long-term money already sunk into Matt Barzal, Bo Horvat, and freshly extended goalie Ilya Sorokin, Noah Dobson's pending RFA negotiation felt like a ticking grenade. Dobson's representatives opened talks by floating an 8-year deal in the 10 to 11 million range, citing his 70-point resume and age 25 prime. Darche, hired precisely to keep the Isles nimble, wasn't prepared to hand that kind of term to a defenseman whose high-danger turnovers ranked in the league's bottom third last season. Behind the scenes, assistant coach Brian Rogers had compiled video packages of Dobson's net front lapses that cost New York several one-goal games down the stretch. Analytics staffers flagged and expected goals against spike whenever Dobson was paired with more offensive-minded partners, and those clips made their way into every cap planning meeting. Complicating matters, whispers surfaced that Dobson's camp felt slighted by second-pair usage while still anchoring the top power play, a workload they believed should pay elite money dividends. Darche faced a grim choice: lock into a contract that might age like milk if the defensive trends worsened, or cash out now while Dobson's reputation still carried marquee weight. Enter Montreal with 2 mid-first round picks and a cost-controlled prospect, offering a reset button for a franchise suddenly craving cap flexibility. From the outside, trading a 25-year-old cornerstone looked reckless. Inside the Islanders' war room, it was a calculated escape from a payday they feared would hamstring every future move. But if New York felt their hands were tied, what exactly did Kent Hughes see that screamed undervalued star instead of buyer beware? Dobson's 2023-24 breakout was no mirage. 10 goals, a whopping 60 assists, and 0.89 points per game, 5th among NHL defensemen. 12 months later, he slid to 39 points, his worst turnover ratio since his rookie year, and a grim -16 plus-minus. The ice time stayed steady, the confidence clearly didn't. To skeptics, that plunge screamed one-season wonder. To believers, it simply proved the Isles weren't using their weapon properly. Montreal bet on the latter, yet talent alone doesn't seal a trade. Assets do. Kent Hughes sent prospect Emil Heineman and both of Montreal's mid-first rounders, 16 and 17 in this month's draft, back to New York. The Canadiens absorbed Dobson's full cap hit without salary retention, banking on cost certainty through 2033. Meanwhile, Isles GM Mathieu Darche hailed the return as 2 swings at high-impact talent and instant relief from a budget headache, and those 2 picks could turn this narrative upside down. Draft night took all the guesswork out of the equation. With Montreal's 2 mid-first rounders, New York selected Swedish winger Victor Eklund at 16 and hard-hitting OHL defenseman Kashan Aitchison at 17. Eklund, a fearless puck retrieval machine who topped Sweden's under-20 scoring charts, brings relentless forechecking and a sneaky one-timer that projects him as a future top-6 spark plug once he adds pro muscle in the SHL. Aitchison, meanwhile, couples a best body checker in the OHL reputation with 59-point puck-moving chops, giving the Isles a potential right-side hammer who could join the NHL as early as 2027. If even one of these kids matures into a cost-controlled top-4 regular, New York will have traded Dobson's looming $9 million cap hit for a decade of roster flexibility and upside. Yet prospects offer no guarantees, so the verdict on this gamble still rests a few seasons down the road. Picture Dobson running a power play that already features Cole Caulfield's one-timer, Nick Suzuki's bumper vision, and rookie Phantom Lane Hudson gliding along the left flank. If Martin St. Louis wants a puck possession avalanche, he can unleash a Dobson-Hudson pairing that fires transition passes like a junior league video game. Prefer balance? Slot Dobson beside Kaiden Gulai, the rangy mobile stopper who already eats the toughest minutes on the roster. Gulai's physical edge and shot-blocking pedigree let Dobson roam without turning every rush into a 3-on-2 the other way. And for late-game offensive pushes, a Dobson-Mike Matheson twin quarterback look could give Montreal the NHL's most unpredictable blue line duo. If last season's 22nd ranked power play stays stuck, Dobson's floor hovers around 40 points. But unlock those half-wall seams and 60+ suddenly feels conservative, proving why the Canadiens were willing to ante up 2 first-rounders for a gamble with franchise-altering upside. Dobson's offensive instincts are elite, but his decision-making under pressure can wobble, and nowhere amplifies that contrast like Montreal. The Bell Center crowd has a long memory. They still groan when a defenseman misses a simple breakout pass, and every turnover is replayed on French-language talk shows before Dobson even reaches the tunnel. Martin St. Louis demands two-way buy-in from his stars. Remember how quickly he benched Patrick Laine for floating in the neutral zone? So one soft gap red could land Dobson on the video tablet instead of the next shift. Analytics departments in New York highlighted his spike in expected goals against whenever he chased hits below the goal line. That same habit under Montreal's microscope becomes front-page fodder. Yet there's a flip side. The Canadiens' room is young, tight-knit, and obsessed with pace. If Dobson embraces Caden Goulet's grind-first ethos and leans into St. Louis's quick transition mantra, the city that can crush a player's confidence might just supercharge his. The harsh truth is simple. Consistency will dictate whether he's lauded as the missing top-pair catalyst or labeled the most expensive misread since the Sergei Gonchar experiment a decade ago. And the clock on that narrative starts ticking the moment he steps onto Santa Catherine in a red sweater. Now, the big question, who won this trade? On paper, Montreal scores an instant top-pair catalyst and a surge of optimism, so the early scoreboard reads, Habs win. But hockey verdicts are rendered over 8-year contracts, 2 full draft cycles, and countless playoff shifts. If Dobson hovers above 3 wins above replacement every season while quarterbacking a top 10 power play, the gamble pays for itself before the calendar even flips to 2030. Yet flip the script, say Victor Eklund becomes Barzal's trigger-happy running mate, and Kashawn Aitchison locks down the right side at pennies on the dollar, and New Isles GM Mathieu Darsha will look like a prophet who turned a distressed asset into 2 foundational pieces and $9+ million in annual breathing room. There's also a culture angle. Montreal's dressing room has lacked a vocal blue line general since Shea Weber's exit. If Dobson fills that void, his impact outstrips any spreadsheet. Conversely, if media pressure rattles him and those defensive lapses resurface, the trade could haunt Kent Hughes for a decade. In short, the only certainty is that neither fan base will stop arguing until those draft picks and Dobson's prime fully mature. 2 general managers just wagered their legacies on opposite interpretations of the same player. If Montreal hasn't paraded down St. Catherine before 2030, fans will replay today's press conference and wonder if the harsh truth was simply that Dobson's best year already happened. But if he lifts a cup in a red sweater, the Islanders' haul, no matter how promising, becomes footnote fodder. Drop your verdict in the comments and hit subscribe so you're here when those draft picks finally skate. We'll be keeping receipts.